Guys, the incompetence, the callousness, the cruelty of multiple authorities and legal agencies have allegedly led to the death of a refugee, Nurul Amin Shah Alam, 56 years old. He was in county custody. He downpled something to a misdemeanor. He had posted bail, and then he got picked up on a detainer, apparently, that probably shouldn't have existed, from Border Patrol. And then they found out that actually, nope, not supposed to have him. We're not able to deport him. We got to let him go. And then they let him go at a coffee shop. And it was closed at the moment. And we're going to show you guys video to show you that it was closed. And he was missing for 5 days. This guy is legally blind, or he's blind in one eye, could barely see out of another eye, doesn't speak much English, doesn't read English, obviously. Family says that he's not able to use electronics. And they just dropped him off. And then 5 days later, he popped up dead.
Yeah, the funny thing is Border Patrol said that they offered him a courtesy ride after determining that he was not eligible for deportation, which they say that Shah Alam accepted. It's just a nice story. And they drove him, then he told them to drive him to a coffee shop
I'm
in
just curious.
Buffalo
I'm
in
just curious
winter.
which one of the Border Patrol agents spoke the language that they spoke from Myanmar. I'm just curious, like, how did they have this conversation with him? Were they able to translate on an electronic device that he wasn't able to use? Or did they speak to him in a language that he wasn't able to understand? I mean, exactly how did they say, hey, the fact that he was even picked up in the first place? So this article goes on, was detained by Border Patrol agents on February 19th after his release from county jail, but was let go the same day after federal authorities determined he wasn't eligible for deportation. So they shouldn't have picked him up in the fucking first place.
Yeah, that's right. But you're also expecting these guys to be professional and to do their research before picking up a brown person. They're not going to do that, right?
They had
And
all
then,
the qualifications they needed when they seen his name and they seen what he looked like, because again, brown person,
yeah,
right?
exactly. And then they got him in the car, and they probably were thinking they're going to drive him to his home. He probably they couldn't understand him, right? And he was talking a different language, and they were getting annoyed, probably yelling at him. And then they saw a Horton's coffee shop and were like, fuck it. And they just pushed him out of the car there. And then the guy got out because he didn't know what was happening. And he's old,
Well,
and
what you're saying goes against the facts. Capital FACTS, because that's not what happened. Look,
oh no.
they're telling us. Here are the facts. On February 19th,
Ooh.
Buffalo Police Department
No.
alerted Border Patrol about a non-citizen in their custody. Okay. Our agents confirm that Mr. Shah Alam entered the United States as a refugee on December 24, 2024, and was not amendable to removal. Again, you shouldn't have had him in the fucking first place. Border Patrol agents offered him a courtesy ride, which he chose to accept, to a coffee shop, determined to be a warm, safe location near his last known address. Why wouldn't you just take him to his fucking address? Like,
Because
if you were,
they couldn't figure that out because, again, he doesn't speak English, and then they got annoyed.
so
I mean,
and so why wouldn't you take him back to the county jail? I mean, he was bailed out. You would imagine that if you're going to get bailed out, somebody knows that you're going to get bailed out, and they expect you to get bailed out from the county jail. Maybe, they're able to make a phone call. Maybe they could drop him off at a police station. They could have done so many other things, but this is what they did. This is the fucking callousness of these people. It's disgusting. This is him. This was reported on CBS News. This just came out a couple hours ago. It came out at 9:00 at night Eastern time on the 20th. If you look at that, 12:19 or 2:19, and it's dark outside. It's pretty dark outside. And I don't see him going. I see him walking outside the drive-through, which is usually something you would do when somewhere is closed, right? And just seeing if there's somebody inside. He's all by himself. He looks
there's a
pretty
lot of things
confused.
that they could have done, right? So even if they didn't want to drive him back to the county jail, they could have somehow placed a call to his family and said, listen, we dropped him off here. The family didn't get notified that he was picked up from the jail and he was missing for 5 days before they found his dead body.
Right.
They could have done so many things to avoid this, but again, they don't care. I
What
mean,
what
they're
they could
killing
have done
people in
as
the
well,
streets.
allegedly, that the shop wasn't even open. The doors were locked. They could have just waited to be like, oh shit, it's closed, right? Like the fact that they didn't do any of these things just shows that they don't value human life that doesn't look like them. They just determined to have no value. It's a disgusting way to live. I don't know how people really have that type of mindset where they just lack of care, that just absolute cruelty, that absolute neglect, um, disregard. Animals get treated better than that.
I don't know why you're surprised, to be honest with you.
You're right.
They basically did the bare minimum. They should have determined before they got custody of him whether or not he was eligible for deportation. If he's not eligible, they should never have picked him up. The county jail could have called his family, right? And then this would have been avoided. But because they do no research, they go and pick him up, and I guess while he's in the car, they figure out for whatever reason, he can't be deported. And I'm telling you, then they're annoyed. And they're annoyed because they have this guy in the car. They don't know what to do with him, right? He can't speak English.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like, we need this guy out of the car.
Fuck
And
this
they
guy. What's he gonna say? Who's he gonna tell? It doesn't even matter.
get him out of the fucking car. There's a Hortons. Get him out.
Don't forget, when they're in performance of a legal operation, they have complete federal immunity. Don't forget that that is something that's going through their minds as well. Fuck procedure. Fuck accountability. We don't have any. We wear masks, and there is yet to be a single ICE officer to be arrested. Not a single one has been arrested since they've kicked off this campaign, this military campaign.
And not going to be arrested because, again, that's going to fracture the devotion to Donald Trump. Once they arrest someone, those ICE agents or CBP are going to know that they don't have full immunity, and they're going to be more careful with what they do to
because
the population.
When a knight pledges their life to their king, the king is supposed to protect them in return. And that's kind of what these guys are. These guys are pledging their lives to this ideology that's going to ruin this country. We covered in this segment. We're losing population. This isn't good for a capitalist country. This isn't good for a country that has an aging population, that has obligations with Medicare and Social Security to lower. Because again, people that come here to immigrate, chances are they're in their 20s. They're skilled in some type of industry, and they're about to give us the most productive years of their lives. If we could give those people an easy pathway to citizenship, then we could tax their wages, and it could go ahead and help keep this economy going and help keep this country growing, because this country requires us to grow to feed this capitalist system that we're in. It is what it is. Capitalism is based on growth. But they're going to come out with AI, so I guess they don't really need people anyway. So
here's where we're at. It's just a really sad story. The family is probably going to sue. And again, I've been talking about it on a lot of videos. There needs to be repercussions and consequences for this shit. And it's not going to happen until 2029 at minimum, but there needs to be investigations and arrests. Or I mean, I'll even say this for Kathy Hochul, right? The governor of New York. She should open an investigation. Why wouldn't she? Right. This happened in New York. She can get the state troopers of New York to open an investigation into what happened. And I'll bet you she's not going to do it. Just like in Minnesota, like Walls and Minnesota haven't opened an investigation into the shooting of Preddy and Good because ICE is stonewalling that. But I'd like to see Hochul try to open up an investigation and see if she can determine or identify the agents that left him, refugee on the side of the road.
If that is the case, negligent homicide, negligent manslaughter, just some type of accountability, not following procedure.
Yeah, right.
You picked them up from a facility you weren't supposed to pick them up from, and you dropped them off somewhere fucking randomly in cold ass Buffalo, New York, in the middle of February.
Yeah, and then the guy froze to death. That's basically what we're looking at here. And again, it's just because they were inconvenienced that this guy was in their car.
Guy that doesn't even speak English.
Yeah, they couldn't understand him. They're like, fuck this guy.
Yep. And that's all it takes. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show, but don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and hit the bell icon to get notified when we drop a new episode, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.